Good morning, everyone. This is Jalan from the Paradox Gaming Network, and I decided to do a series of videos called Archeage 101 because a lot of the information that's currently out there applies to Archeage 1.0 or 2.0, even 2.5 or 3.0, and on June 7th, 2017, we're going to be moving into Archeage 3.5. Another big reason why is I see a lot of new players on Salphira, and they hang around for a few days, and then they disappear. And their biggest reason for leaving is the game really wasn't clear. There just was no way to figure out what they should be doing. So I'm going to put together a few videos just to help new players that come into the game, and hopefully we can help keep the Archeage population strong. As I said, I'm Jalan. I'm the leader of the Paradox Guild on Salphira. If you ever need anything, you can whisper me in game. You can go to my website, www.paradoxgaming.net, or shoot me an email at the email address below. Real quick, this is the Paradox Gaming website. Originally, I had planned on branching out into different games, but I'm going to be completely honest, BDO, Blade and Soul, and Revelation Online didn't really hold my interest. I ended up coming back to Archeage after all of them. Atlas Reactor, I do play Atlas Reactor quite frequently. It's a nice time filler game. It's a turn-based 4v4 rather than a MOBA, so if you like strategy, you like chess, you're probably really going to enjoy this game. As you follow down on the website, I try to post some lighthearted videos, and then I try to post news for the server, the game, and then some tips and stuff. Also, I like to give shoutouts on occasion. Before we go on, one thing I did want to mention is that I'm going to be doing several giveaways in the next few weeks. For this particular giveaway, and I'm sorry, viewers, if you're not on Salphira, there's nothing I can do for you. I'm not a member of the creator program. I just don't have the membership, but I'm hoping to change that. So if you're willing to like and subscribe to this channel, and then if you're from Salphira, put a comment in the comments box with your name, and when I give away stuff in the coming weeks, I will enter you into the contest. As an added bonus, if you get a friend to comment with their name under your comment, both you and they will get an additional entry when I do the raffle. So today's objectives are going to be the upcoming 3.5 patch, getting started, and a discussion on the difference between North America and EU, and then getting into making your first character, picking a faction, and picking a class, and how Archeage is really different than most other games out there. I'm going to take you into the game, and I'm going to show you some helpful game option settings that you probably want to activate right at the beginning. I'm going to talk about the importance of finding a guild level 2 or above right away, and then I'm going to talk about the benefits of Patron and how you can get Patron pretty easily. So that first thing I want to talk about, the upcoming 3.5 features. Again, I'm not going to try to reinvent the wheel. Over at Omnom, they have done a tremendous job of putting together the 3.5 preview data from Korea. So when we click over to their website, there's no way I could compete with this, and there's no reason for me to. Go here. This is exactly where I would be getting my data. Another website you can go to is Percy Meets Archeage, another great source from Korea and the changes that are coming. So it lets you plan ahead several months in advance. So the very first thing I want to talk about is this concept of North America and EU, and how you have two separate labor pools, two loyalty pools, but a single pool of credits. When you load up your Glyph client, over here, there's a pull-down menu of North America, Europe, and the public test server. The key here is that you get labor in North America and a separate labor pool in Europe. Once you're a patron, you generate labor while offline. And I'll go into what labor is specifically a little later. But if you're new to Archeage, I just want you to hear the word labor and understand it's what you use to do pretty much everything. A little bit here to open a mob drop, a little bit here to chop down a tree. So being patron really does benefit you. And I'll go into all those benefits later, but you want to try to be patron as quickly as possible. The problem is you're also going to want to get gear, get a wagon, get a house, and those things take money too. The beauty of this system that Tryon has used is if I buy an Apex on the Euro server and I apply it to my account, I get to spend those credits either in Europe or on the North American servers. With credits, I can purchase my Patron game time. That means that I effectively, if I'm smart and I know how to make gold, I can make all the gold I need in Europe to pay for my Patron, and I never have to spend gold in North America keeping my Patron subscription up. So the next thing I want to talk about is factions. And a lot of people, when they come into Archeage, they get this mentality that green is ally and red is enemy. And unfortunately, Archeage is a sandbox, so that's not necessarily true. While the game started off as a really East versus West game, the truth of the matter is, just because somebody is green, it doesn't mean they're not going to flag or bloodlust and kill you. And just because somebody is red, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to kill you. There have been several notable examples of guilds that have made partnerships with guilds in the other faction for mutual profit. On top of all of this, there's also what's known as the pirates. Pirates are members of either the East or the West that have decided that they don't want to be a member of the Harani or the Nuians anymore, so they accumulate 3,000 infamy and they join automatically the pirate faction. As I mentioned, bloodlusting. If you press Control and F and you're in a PvP zone, you can attack your own faction. Your name will go purple and everybody around will know what you're trying to do. However, there are times that it's called for. Since this is a sandbox game, I'm going to let you decide what those occasions are. Finally, there's player nations. Now, I'm not going to go into much detail of player nations in the Archeage 101 Part 1 video, but I do want you to hear that term. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is picking your class. And I want to talk about how there's 4 main damage trees, there's multiple support trees, and then there's trees that have good synergy between them. Factions, you have the Nuian Alliance and the Haranian Alliance. And in the Nuians, you've got Nuians, Elves, and Dwarves. In the Harani Alliance, you have Harani, Firin, and the Warborn. I have heard nothing but good things about the Dwarves. I know that they can transform, and they become quite a pain in the ass in their transformed form. The Warborn, likewise, they transform, they have a battle mode, and this is where you pick your first to 4 trees. Now, legitimately, there are really 2 combat trees, 1 combat support tree, and the healing tree. You can't go wrong with Battle Rage or Sorcery if you like damage. It just depends on which type of damage you like. Currently, it is well known that the Battle Rage tree is the most powerful tree, because from Battle Rage, you can create the meta class Dark Runner. If you like playing what everybody else is playing, take Battle Rage, it's melee, it's close quarters, and then you can pick some different support trees. If you prefer magic, Sorcery is going to be your primary tree, and it's going to be backed up by Witchcraft, Occultism, even Songcraft. Something very strange that happened a few months ago. Tryon actually came right out and said that archery was no longer a true pure DPS tree, it was more of a support tree. A lot of archers out there have disproven this fact because there are still a number of archers who can dish out the same amount, if not more, damage than sorcerers. So I don't want to scare you away from playing an archer. I just want to let you know right at the beginning that an archer's path is very gear dependent. And the final tree is Vitalism. Up until 3.0, Vitalism was mostly a pure healing tree, because of some changes they made in 1.0 to magic attack versus healing power, you couldn't really be a successful soloer with Vitalism. 3.0 happened, and they made all of the Vitalism trees damage abilities scale off healing power. You can successfully be a healer, and level straight through the game just as fast, if not faster, than somebody who takes Battle Rage and Sorcery. I'm not going to spend any time in this menu. I'm going to pick the default character. But if you would like character modification, as you can see, you can get into all the levels of details, anything you want to do to a character. There's body paint, there's tattoos, there's scars. Have at it. Now, as we built our character, we picked that first tree. And if you saw, I picked Vitalism. But as a new player, you're not going to have any idea which other two trees are good to go with Vitalism. You get to pick your second tree at level 5 and your third tree at level 10. So you're going to be lost because Archeage is just going to pop this menu at you and it's going to say pick another tree. What's worse is because you can't chat in Nation Chat until level 15, you've already picked your other trees well before you can talk to other players. That's why I highly recommend using a skill calculator to at least look and see what some of those options are. My skill calculator of choice is at archeagedatabase.net. The reason why I like Archeage Database is because as you pick your trees, it's going to show you what potential combos you have. So because I made our Warborn primary Vitalism, it shows me that I can have combos between Resurgence and Antithesis and Resurgence and Mend. So when I pick Resurgence, as you can see, my combo lights up. And as I take Antithesis, I now know that these two skills are a combo. Now, say I know I want to be a healer, so I choose Auramancy. Remember when I said there are trees that have synergy with each other? Well, now you can see why. Because adding in Auramancy changed my 2 combos to a total number of 7. There are several builds with healers that revolve around having the lowest possible cooldown for your healing skills. And that shows you that right there. When I take Thwart out of the Auramancy tree, it lights up these combos. It also shows me that if I take Spell Shield and Antithesis, I can have an instacast Antithesis. If you didn't know about this database, you would be trying to figure this out in game. But the problem is that you don't know anything yet, so how can you make an informed decision? One very important thing about Archeage classes is that you're not locked into your decisions. Over the 3 years I've been playing, I've met a number of players who will generate an alt and then a second alt because they'll say, well, I want to be able to heal if my friends need a healer, or I want to be able to tank if my friends need a tank. Well, that's okay. Archeage allows you to level all the trees to 55. In fact, it's highly recommended you level all the trees to 55 just so you have flexibility. Archeage has 120 different classes. I can take Battle Rage, Shadowplay, and Vitalism and make a completely relevant build. Whereas you might take Archery, Shadowplay, and Battle Rage and have a completely different play style. The next thing I want to do is I want to show you some helpful game settings. These are just the little things that once you have checked, they're going to make quite a bit of difference in your gameplay, but they're things you probably wouldn't have found on your own unless you're the kind of gamer who gets right into the settings right at the beginning of the game. So, I come back into game, and I hit the escape button, and I come to options, and right off the bat you're going to see that I play in borderless windowed mode. This is all personal preference. I've played in all 3, but since I spend an awful lot of time dropping out a game to look at video clips or change movies or talk to people on TeamSpeak, I just prefer borderless windowed mode. The next setting down I want you to see is DirectX. I run at DirectX 11. I don't have a problem with it. There are several people who report they have problems with crashes. Trion's solution is to change that to DirectX 9 if you're on 11, or change it to 11 if you're on 9. As I scroll down, restrict maximum frames per second. I like to restrict mine down to 100. I have found that Archeage just likes to tear the guts out of video cards, and it makes my card run hotter than normal. I hit apply in between every set of changes because undoubtedly one doesn't stick when I don't. If you have an older card, I highly recommend you turn everything down and then you start bringing up some of the important ones a little bit at a time. Some of the things that you can get rid of if your graphics card struggles is you can get rid of cloud effects, you can get rid of shadows. You'll see, even though I have a good video card, I have reflection effects off. I just don't like the effect it has. Sound settings, down here I want to show you the mutes music played by other players. In a later video we're going to talk about artistry and how you can make your own sheet music in game. Like every other MMO, there are those trolly little kids who like to make sheet music that's just shrill music. I keep my music played by other players muted most of the time. When I come over here to name information, I know who I am, so I don't need to see my own name. When I come down, in 3.0, one of these options is you can have it show the nation name. It'll show Haranian Alliance or Nuian Alliance. Game info. I've never been a big fan of MMOs that don't tell me in a number value how much life I have. That is right there at the top. Health and mana stats. Buff duration. Show target cast bar. All good things. Target of target's cast bar. Yes. Combo effects and tooltips. As you can see, I can cursor over one and it pops up at the bottom of the box. It says combo. If I were to take that off, it wouldn't tell me what combos with what. As you know your class and you don't want this giant box on your screen, you can click that off. Another one is show damage breakdown and skill tooltips. As you can see, it says fires a bolt of holy light that deals 119 magic damage. Well, when I click damage breakdowns and I hit apply, now you can see that it says fires a bolt of holy light that deals 119, but it's 101 plus 90% healing power. So if I was trying to make holy bolt more powerful, what I would want to do is raise my healing power. Chat bubbles, I hate chat bubbles, so I take them off. Close tutorial. The tutorial isn't bad since 3.0. I highly recommend you leave it on for just a little bit. After that, you're probably going to want to come back in here and close it because it will pop up in the worst times. And view frame rate, I like to pop this on as well because it's going to put the frame rate right up there. And damage heal info target, I take that to self only because I don't need to see all the other stats. Ship collision damage, I can uncheck that, it's all irrelevant. When I hit apply, you can see right there that I'm going to bounce between 90 and 99 frames per second. Come back in. Functionality. One thing you do want to do in functionality is disable the chat filters. This game filters some of the dumbest words, so you want to take that off. Skill deployment location, you want to check that to stop you from having to click the skill twice. Next on our list is finding a guild right away and why you want to do that. And it's for the 7% bonus XP and the 15% after completing a guild mission. So I go back into our game and I come down here to the bottom corner, community and guild. Now because I'm not a member of the guild, all of these other options are grayed out. But I see that there are 4 guilds recruiting. And Paradox is on the top, a level 6 guild that's new player friendly. Black Omen is a Brazilian guild that speaks Portuguese. Mayhem has been around under different names for a long time. They're a level 5 guild. And you've got Parrot Heavy Industries. As you can see, it's a guild for alts to farm Lord coins and prestige. We'll talk about all that stuff later. But as you can see, 2 of the guilds show that they're new player friendly. if I was going to apply, I would apply to Paradox and Mayhem, hopefully getting picked up as soon as I could. As you can see, I have switched over to my other character, and the reason why is I wanted to cursor over the guild buff. Now, because Paradox is a rank 6 guild, there's a lot more buffs. But as you can see, it increases XP gain by 7%. When I come down here, and I go back to the guild tab, not that one, there we go, buffs per guild level. Each time a guild levels, it gains new things. So a rank 2 guild gets the XP gain. That's why you want to find a rank 2 guild. A rank 3 guild, loot drop, and so on, cooldown for your recall, all the way up to rank 8. Highly recommend that you try to get into a rank 2 or higher guild as soon as you can. The benefit for them is every time you level, they get half of your level in guild XP. Finally, I want to talk about the benefits of Patron. This game can be played completely as a free-to-play game. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you can buy your Patron with in-game gold. I highly recommend, if you enjoy Archeage, spend the little bit of real-life money to get 1 month of Patron. In one of the videos later this week, I will show you how 1 month of Patron on one character can continuously generate enough gold that you can pay for your Patron in 5 to 10 minutes a day. The reason I highly suggest Patron is because, 1, labor. Unless you can leave your computer on 24 hours a day, you are never going to have enough labor to do all the things you want to do. Free-to-play players have a labor pool of 2,000. Patrons have a labor pool of 5,000, and they generate labor while offline. Patrons get loyalty tokens every day for logging in, and then every hour that clicks past, we can get usually 1, but right now it's 3 loyalty tokens per click. So you're effectively getting 14 loyalty tokens per day. Also, leveling, 20% XP bonus if you're a patron. You are going to reach level 50 incredibly quickly. Level 50 to 55 is going to be painful. Now, before that scares you off, it used to be 33 million XP for level 55. The North American version of the game drops that to under 6. You also get a 10% vocation badge bonus. So what happens is you do it daily and you get vocation badges. Because you're a patron, you get 10% more. Since 3.0, vocation badges are priceless. I make an incredible amount of money on them. If you're enjoying Archeage, become a patron. It's a pretty good deal if you do the subscription method. If you just want to do a one-time buy, you can buy credits and pay for your patron with 2,400 credits. And when you get good, you'll be paying for it all with Apex. So in conclusion, what did we talk about today? We talked about the upcoming 3.5 patch, and I gave you a link of where to go so you can study that. We talked about getting started and about how the NA labor pool and loyalty pool is different than the Europe labor pool and loyalty pool, but the accounts in both regions share one credit pool. We talked about factions, specifically about bloodlusting, and don't assume somebody who's green isn't going to hurt you. We talked about picking a class and about how Archeage gives you access to 120 classes and one character can do it all. We talked about some helpful game option settings so that you don't struggle through and have to ask a bunch of questions, which you can't even ask until you're level 15 and can talk in Nation Chat. We talked about finding a level 2 guild right away and why you want to do that. And we talked about the benefits of Patron. And as a reminder, I want to remind everybody, if you could like and subscribe to this channel, that would be great. It would help me possibly get into the creators program, and then I would have giveaways that I could give to everybody who watches. And if you're from Salphira, like and subscribe, but then put your character name in the comments. If you do this, I will be doing a raffle. I will be doing several raffles over the next few weeks, and I will give you one entry into the raffle. If you can get a friend to comment with their name on Salphira under your name, I will give both of you one additional entry into the raffle. And as I said, I'm Jalan. I lead the Paradox Guild on the Salphira server. You can send me a message in-game. You can reach me at my website, www.paradoxgaming.net, or you can send me an email at support@paradoxgaming.net. Stay tuned for Archeage 101 Part 2 later this week.